We continue now at the top of Daf Mem Tesam at Aleph and Meseches Sotah. This is Sotah Daf 49a. The Gemara is in the middle of discussing the pasuk in Zechariah, which talks about the day of small things, and the Gemara now offers another explanation. It's referring to the children of the Rishoim, Shemivaz v'zin din aviyim lo'asid lavo. Rashi explains what that means. Shemivaz v'zin din aviyim, korim din aviyim. They tear up the judgment against their wicked fathers. Shekesheboyin ladunam omim lafana. Because when these fathers come to get judged, so then there's a claim now because these children of these Rishoim, they died. And so therefore they say as follows, Lasid Lavo in the future they say as follows, Omrim Lafanav, they say, Ribona Shalom, the master of the world. Me'achar Shata Asid Li Paraman, if in the future, in Olam Haba you're going to punish them for their wickedness. So Lama Hikisa Shineam Bam, so why did you bang their teeth with this punishment, meaning that their children should die young? So in other words, they essentially absolve their fathers from punishments because of the punishments that their fathers got when their children died ba'olam hazeh, in this world. Rashi says, Hikisa shineim lama hachaltem v'tzaratem aleinu b'moseinu v'nitfras mehem b'chayim. Why are you giving them all these sorrows while they're alive that their children should die? Now they should also be punished in olam haba, and so they're able to remove that punishment with this argument in olam haba from their fathers who were Rishoim. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Bar Yevarechi, Rabbi Bar Yevarechi says, Il malei tfilaso shel David, if not for the tefillah of David HaMelech, Hayukol Yisrael Mocher Ravav, all of Yisrael, all of Israel would be selling fats, meaning they would have lowly occupations. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Shisa Hashem Mora Lehem, Hashem should give you mastery, Hashem should give you dignity. And we see from that pasuk again, David HaMelech in Tehillim is saying that Hashem should give them dignity in their occupations. And the Gemara continues, V'yamar Rabbi Bar Yevarechi, and Rabbi Bar Yevarechi says, El malei tfilaso shel Chabakuk, if not for the tefillah of Chabakuk, Hayubeis Talmidei Chachamim Miskasim B'talis Achas. Two Talmidei Chachamim, they would cover themselves in one garment, meaning they would be very poor. V'yoskin b'Torah, and they would learn Torah in that fashion. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, this is a pasuk in Chabakuk, Hashem Shamati Shemacha. Hashem, I heard your report. Yeresi Hashem, I'm afraid Hashem. Pa'olcha, your work, B'kerev Shanim Chayehu. In the midst of years, you should revive it. And so the Gemara now darshans al tikra B'kerev Shanim. Don't read it in the midst of years. Ela B'kiruv Shnayim, rather the closeness of two individuals, meaning again that they have to share one talis. And the Gemara continues, Vam Rabbi Bar Yevarechi, and Rabbi Bar Yevarechi says, Shnei Talmidei Chachamim hamahalchin b'derech, two Talmidei Chachamim that are walking on the road, ve'ein beinein divrei Torah, and they do not have between them words of Torah, Ru'uyin lisoref bo'esh, they are fit to be burned with fire. Shenemar, as it says, Vayihei maholchim holoch v'daber v'nei rachavesh v'gomer. This is talking about when Eliyahu was walking together with Elisha, and the Gemara darshans it to mean time of the dibur. The reason they were protected from the fire was because they were speaking divrei Torah. But if not for the speaking of divrei Torah, it would have been fit that they would be burned. And the Gemara continues, V'yam Rabbi Bar Yevarechi, and Rabbi Bar Yevarechi says, Shnei Talmidei Chachamim Hadarin bi'arachas, two Talmidei Chachamim that live in one city, Ve'enochin zel lezeh b'halacha, and they don't get along with regards to halacha. Echad meis v'echad gola, one of them will die, and one of them will go into exile. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, and this is talking about when somebody kills someone else by mistake, Lanus shama rotzeach asher yirtzach esrei bivli das. It says that he has to flee, go to Golus, because he killed someone bivli das. And so we darshan it to mean, V'yein das el Torah. Das refers to Torah. Shenemar nidmu ami mibli hadas. That's referring to their knowledge, the knowledge of Torah. And so the idea is we darshan from there, just like over there, one of the individuals got killed and one of them has to flee to Golus. Same idea over here. If you have two Talmidei Chachamim that live in one city and they don't get along in halacha, one will go to Golus and one will die. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Yehuda Bereider Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Yehuda Bereider Rabbi Chia says, Kol Talmid Chacham Osik B'Torah Mitoch Hadachak, any Talmid Chacham who learns Torah without a lot of resources, Tfilaso Nishmas, his Tfilah will be listened to, Shenemar, like the pasuk says in Yeshayahu, Kiyam B'Tzion Yeshe B'Yerushalayim, Bacho Lo Sivka Chanon Yachnecha, L'Kol Za'akecha, Kishamaso Anach. The pasuk there is talking about the fact that you're going to cry out and your prayers will be listened to. Uchsib B'Asrei, and it says right after that, also in Yeshayahu, V'Nasan Lachem Hashem Lechem Tzor U'Mayim Lachatz. It says He's giving you very little in terms of bread, in terms of water. So again, you see Mitoch Hadachak. The person is learning Torah Mitoch Hadachak, so his prayers are listened to. And the Gemara continues, Rabbi Avoh says, Masbiyan also, Miziv HaShchina, we allow him to delight from the Shechina itself. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, V'hayu einecho ro'os es morecho. This is also in Yeshayahu. The pasuk says, you will see your teacher, you will bask in the glory of the Shechina. And the Gemara continues, Rabbi Acha bar Chanina Amar, Rabbi Acha bar Chanina says, Af ein hapargud ninal b'fanav, the pargud, which is generally the separation between the Shechina and people, that will not be a separation for this individual. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, and again also in Yeshayahu, v'lo yikonef od morecha, that your teacher is no longer going to be hidden from you. And Rashi explains, lechem tsar, that's a small amount of bread. B'mi hakosim medaber, who are we talking about? B'misha mizonosav kashan olav, somebody who has difficulty having food. V'afa pichein yoshev vosik b'torah, nevertheless he learns Torah, his prayers will be listened to. V'hayu einecha v'chein basrei ksiv v'lo yikanef, again, these are all in the same area. First it talks about the fact that you're going to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you'll see the Shechina, and then it talks about, again, the pargod, that separation, that mechitza will not be closed. Mechitza, the pargod, the mechitza that separates between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and people. Lo yikanef means lo yiskasim imcha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu won't be hidden from you, he won't be covered. Bechnaf bigdo mechitzaso, meaning with his garment and with his mechitza, with his separation. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Omer Mishum Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel said in the name of Rabbi Yoshua, Miyom Shechara Beis HaMikdash Ein V'chulu, from the times that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, there is no day without a curse. And the Gemara says, Amar Rava says, B'chol Yom V'Yom, each day, Meruba Kilalaso Mishal Chaver, the curse is actually worse from the day before. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Ba'boker Tomar Mi'ita in Erev, in the morning you'll say, when will it be evening? Over Erev Tomar Mi'ita in Boker, in the evening you will say, when will it be morning? Now, hi Boker, what morning are we talking about? Ilema Boker de Lamocher, if you say the pasuk means that the person is looking forward to the next morning, maybe things will get better. Miyadam I have it, but how does the person know what's going to happen? Maybe it won't get better. Ela Decholif, actually what the pasuk really means is who's going to give us the day before. The day before was better, even though it was terrible, it was better than today. So you see that every single day is getting worse. And so the Gemara asks, Vela Alma, Mai Kamakayim, but if every day is getting worse, how does the world even continue to exist? And the Gemara says, Kedusha the Sidra, the reason it continues to exist is in the merit of the Kedusha that we say, Yehesh Rabba Dagadata, and the Yehesh Rabba we say after the Agadata, after the Drasha is delivered. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, there's a pasuk in Eov, Eretz Eifasa Kamo Ophel, it's a land of darkness, Tzalmavis, a shadow of death, Velo Starim, and there's no order. Hayesh Sadarim, the pasuk implies that if there is order, and it's referring again to the Kedusha, the Sidra, this Kedusha, and this Yehesh Rabba, so then Tofia Me'ophel, so then that darkness is going to be removed. And Rashi explains that Kedusha the Sidra, Seder Kedusha Shlo Teknua Ela Sheyehu Kol Yisrael Oskin B'Torah. The Kedusha that we say, the reason we say it is so that all of Klal Yisrael is learning Torah in some fashion, B'chol Yom, every single day, Davar Muad, even if it's just a little bit. She'omer Kriyasov V'Targuma, because you say some psukim over there, and then you say the translation. V'hein Ka Oskin B'Torah, it's like learning Torah. V'kevan Shenoig B'chol Yisrael B'Talmidim U'V'Amei Haaretz, and since everybody participates in that, both students and Amei Haaretz, V'yesh Kan Shtayim Kedushas Hashem V'Talmud HaTorah, and you have their Kiddush Hashem involved, plus you have the learning of Torah, Chaviv, it's very beloved. The same is true by Yehesh Mei Rabba, She'onin Achar Hagoda, Sha'ad Darshan Dorish Barabim. They would say this Yehesh Mei Rabba after the Darshan would give a drush in public, B'chol Shabbos, every Shabbos, Hayunog Kach, that was the minhag, to say this Kaddish. V'sham Hayun Nikbatzin Kalam L'shmoa, and everybody would come to listen, L'fi She'enu Yom Shal Malacha, because it wasn't a day for working, V'yesh Kan Torah V'Kiddush Hashem. So you have over here both Torah and sanctification of Hashem's name, and so again, it's because of that the world is sustained. And then the Gemara said, Starim, again, if there is this order, Sidrei Parshios to Torah, meaning this order of the Parshios of the Torah, so then that learning, so to speak, that will bring us out from the darkness. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, V'lo yoret tal levracha v'nital tam peiros v'chulu. After the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, the dew did not come down as a blessing, and the taste was taken away from the fruits. Tanya, we learned in a brayser, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, Tahara batla tam v'reach, ma'aser bitel shuman v'dagan. When there was no more purity, so there was no more good taste and good smell from the fruits, and when there was no more ma'aser, there was no more fat from the grain. Rav Huna ashkach tumarta dechenunisa. Rav Huna, he found a date that smelled very good. Shakla karcha besudre, so he took it and he wrapped it in a scarf. Asa Rabba Berei, so Rabba, his son came, Amar Le, he said, Morchina reicha techaninusa, I smell this good odor from the date. Amar Le said to him, Beni, my son, Tara yesh becha, that shows that you have a certain purity in yourself. Yahav nehile, so he gave it to him, meaning Rav Huna gave this date to his son Rabba. Adahachi asa Abba Berei, so then Abba, the son of Rabba, came, Shakla Yahav nehile, and Rabba gave it to his son Abba. Amar Le, he said to him, Beni simachtas libi. So then Rav Huna said to Rabba, my son, you made me happy, v'ikisa shine, but at the same time you blunted my teeth, because I was happy when I was able to give it to you, and you demonstrated purity, but then you gave it away to somebody else, you gave it to your son. And the Gemara comments, Hainu damri inchi, that's what people say, Rachme da Abba Abni, that the love of the father is for his son, and Rachme da Bni, and the love of the son, Abni da Havilei, is for the son that he has. And the Gemara continues, Rav Acha bar Yaakov, Itful Beib Rav Yaakov bar Barate, Rav Acha bar Yaakov, he raised Rav Yaakov, who was the son of his daughter. Ki Gadol, when he grew up, Amarle, he said, Ashkin Maya, get me some water. Amarlo, so he said to him, meaning Rav Yaakov, who was the son of his daughter, said to Rav Acha bar Yaakov, Lav Brichana, I'm not your son, I don't need to get you water. V'hainu damri inchi, and that's what people say, Rabbi bar Baratachana. You'll raise the child, and then the child will respond, I'm the son of your daughter. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, and most of this Mishnah will be explained by Rashi. Bepulmus shel Aspasianis, during the campaign of Vespasian, Gazra al Ataras Chasanim v'alu Irus, they made a Gezerah on Ataras Chasanim and on the Irus. Bepulmus shel Titus, during the campaign of Titus, Gazra al Ataras Kalas, they made a Gezerah on Ataras Kalas. V'shelo Yilamed Adam es beno Yevamis, and that a person should not teach his son Greek. Bepulmus ha'acharon, in the last campaign, Gazru shelo Teitze ha'kala ba'piryon b'socha ir, they made a Gezerah that the Kala should not go out with the canopy in the city. V'rabosenu hitiru sheteitze ha'kala ba'piryon b'socha ir, but the rabbis allowed the Kala to go out with the canopy within the city. Mishameis Rabbi Meir, from the time Rabbi Meir died, Batalu Moshle Mashalim, those who were able to construct mushals, they ceased to exist. Mishameis Ben Azai, from the time Ben Azai died, Batalu HaShakdonim, there were no longer Shakdonim. Mishameis Ben Zoma, from the time Ben Zoma died, Batalu HaDarshanim, the Darshanim ceased. Mishameis Rabbi Akiva, from the time that Rabbi Akiva died, Batal Kavod HaTorah stopped. Mishameis Rabbi Chanina Ben Dosa, from the time Rabbi Chanina Ben Dosa died, Batalu Anshe Maisa, the men of deeds, they stopped. Mishameis Rabbi Yossi Katanta, when the lesser Rabbi Yossi died, Pasku Chasidim, the pious one, stopped. V'lama nikra shemo Katanta, why was he called Katanta? Shoya Katanta shel Chasidim, because he was the least of the pious individuals. Mishameis Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, from the time Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai died, Batal Ziv HaChachma, the glory of wisdom was Batal. Mishameis Rabbi Gamliel HaZakin, from the time Rabbi Gamliel HaZakin died, Batal Kavod HaTorah ceased. Umesa Taharu, precious, and purity and abstinence died. Mishameis Rabbi Yishmael ben Pabi, when Rabbi Yishmael ben Pabi died, Batal Ziv HaKahuna, the glory of the Kahuna was Batal. Mishameis Rabbi, and from when Rabbi died, Batal Anova, V'yiras Chet, humility and fear of sin, they ceased. And Rashi explains, Bepulmas Chel Shehevi Aspasianos al Yerushalayim, again that's the campaign of Vespasian against Yerushalayim. Ataras Chasanim ve'iras mefarish beGemara, those terms will be explained in the Gemara. Bepulmas Shel Titus, in Titus's campaign, Shehevi Hyrcanus Aristobulus Achiv, Hyrcanus fought against Aristobulus, his brother, Ubein Zela Zeh Hayu Chamishim Ushtayim Shana, and between the Vespasian campaign and the war between Hyrcanus and his brother Aristobulus, there was 52 years, Kedamar b'Seder Olam, as is said in Seder Olam. Now the historians note that this does not seem to be accurate, because the war between Hyrcanus and Aristobulus actually happened well before Vespasian's campaign, and Titus was after Vespasian's campaign, so that is a difficulty with Rashi that is addressed by the Mefarshim. Ataras Kalos Mefarish beGemara, Ataras Kalos will also be explained in the Gemara. But Pulmas HaAchron, in the last campaign, Hu Shel Churban Habayis, that refers to the destruction of the second Beis HaMikdash. V'Shel Titus Nami Have, that also involved Titus. Ba'apirion b'socha ir, in the canopy within the city, shayu molichan osami beis avia lebeis bala, they would take the bride from the house of her father to the house of her husband. Va'apirion shel me'ilim v'talisos muzhavos mukafos la, and so then they had these garments of gold that were interwoven with gold that surrounded her. That was the canopy that they brought her in. Moshle Mashalos, then we said when Rabbi Meir died, so there was no longer anyone who could use Mashalim. Lases Osa Masla V'tam L'chachma, in other words, to construct a mashal in order to give a reason for the wisdom. Likanes Ba B'Sharei Bina, to enter into the gates of wisdom. Kagon Memshalos Shualim, for example, there was the mashals of foxes, Damar B'Sanhedrin, which are brought down in Sanhedrin. Ki Avidarish Rabbi Meir Repirka, Avidarish Tilsa Shmaita V'Tilsa Agarita V'Tilsa Masli. It says that when Rabbi Meir would darshan, so a third of it would be in halacha, a third of it would be in agarita, and a third of it would be mashalim. Shakdonim, and so then it said that when Ben Azai died, that was the end of the Shakdonim. Shokten al dalsos beis hamedrash laila v'yom. That refers to the fact that Ben Azai, he was at the doors of the beis medrash night and day. Kedamar b'Yevamas, like it says in Yevamas, aval ma'esesh and nafshi chashka b'Torah. He says, what am I going to do? Because my soul, it desires Torah. Hadarshanim, so then the darshanim ceased. Shahaya baki, that Ben Zoma was an expert, Betame HaMikros, in the reasons of the Psukim, Kedamar Lo Zachishish Shetayamar Yitzias Mitzrayim Baleilos, At Shedrasha Ben Zoma, I didn't merit to understand Yitzias Mitzrayim at night, that it's mentioned at night until Ben Zoma darshaned it, Batal Kavod Torah, and then it says that when Rabbi Akiva died, so that was the end of Kavod Torah, Shayanosin Libod Lidrosh Kol Kots V'Kots Shal Kolos, because he was able to darshan every little crown on every letter, V'Kol Shekain Tevos Yiseros, V'Osios Yiseros. Certainly he could darshan the extra words and the extra letters, Kegon Bas, Ubas, Anidoresh, V'Zeu Kavod Torah, this is Kavod Torah. V'Zeu Kvod Torah Gadol, She'en Bo Davar Levatola. The point is there's nothing in the Torah that's there for no reason. And Rashi continues, when Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa died, so that was the end of the Anshe Maisa, the people of deeds. Rashi explains, Batuach B'Chashivuso, he was certain in his importance, V'Osa Maisa Muflaim, he was able to perform wonders. Kedamar B'Tainis, like it says in Meseches Tainis, Namti Keshurech, he said that the beams should stretch out, Yomer L'chometz V'Yidlok, the vinegar should be able to light on fire, V'Lo'izim L'Havi Ze'evim B'Karneim, and the goats should be able to bring the wolves in their horns. Ketanusam shel Chasidim, and again the Mishnah said that Rabbi Yossi was the least of the pious individuals. Shahayu HaChasidim holchim v'kolim v'hu hayam miketaneim v'sofim, because the pious individuals, they became less and less, and he was the least of them, and he was the last of them. Ziv HaChachman, the glory of wisdom. Rashi says on that, Zelu Yadan and Maihi, I don't know what that refers to, meaning that Rashi is not sure how to connect the glory of wisdom to Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. And Rashi continues, Mishameis Rabbi Gamliel Hazakin Batal Kavod Torah, from the time Rabbi Gamliel Hazakin died, so Kavod Torah ended. B'Meseches Megillah Amar Sha'ad Shemesu Hayabrius Ba'olam. So it says in Meseches Megillah that before he died, there was a certain amount of health in the world. V'lo hayu l'meidim Torah ela ma'uma, they were able to learn Torah standing up. Mishamesu, but when he died, Yard Choli La'olam, so illness came to the world. V'hutzrechu l'ilmod Torah miyushav, and they had to learn Torah while they were sitting down. And Rashi continues, when Rabbi Yishmael ben Pabi died, Batal Ziv HaKahuna, so the glory of the Kahuna ended. Shayachacham v'yasher, he was wealthy, he was wise and wealthy. V'kohanim rabim ochlan al shulchanu, many kohanim would eat by his table. And the Gemara now continues, and it is unclear whether the next section is part of the Mishnah or is it the beginning of the Gemara. In any case, the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoer Omer, Rabbi Pinchas ben Yoer says, Mishachara Beis HaMikdash, from the time that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Boshu Chaverim, the Chaverim, meaning those who were scholars, they're ashamed, Uvnei Chorin, and the freemen, the Chafu Rosham, and their heads are downturned, V'nidaldalu Anshe Maisa, and men of deeds, they've become poor, the Gavru Balei Zroa Balei Lashon, and those people who are strong men, and those people who are Balei Lashon, people who are slanderers, they've become mighty. Ve'en doresh ve'en mevakesh, and there's no one who seeks out the good of Klal Yisrael and who requests on behalf of Klal Yisrael. Ve'en shoel, nobody asks on our behalf. Al mi lanu lihishayin, who can we rely on? Al Avinu Shabbat Shamayim, only on our Father in heaven. Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol Omer, Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol says, Miyom shechara Beis HaMikdash, from the time that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Sharu Chakimayi L'Mahavi Kesifraya. So the wise ones, they've now become like the scribes, meaning everyone's went down a level, so to speak. Besifraya and the scribes, Kechazanaya, they're like the shul attendants. Bechazanaya Ka'amadiyara, and the shul attendants, they're now like the regular people. V'Amadiyara and the regular people. And Rashi explains, Uvnei Chorin, what does Vnei Chorin mean? Miuchasin, meaning again the important people, the people with good yichus. Chafu Rosham, so their heads are hung in shame. Shegavra Yad Azei Ponim Mamzerim, because the Mamzerim and the people who are brazen, they become strong. Shehem Ashirim, they become the wealthy ones. Ve'elu Aniyim, and the good people, so to speak, have become poor. Nidaldalu Anshe Maisa, and the men of deeds, they've become lowered. Ein Chash Lahem, nobody cares for them. Ve'in Dorish Li Yisrael, nobody seeks out the good of Klal Yisrael. Ve'in Mevakesh Aleim Rachamim, nobody asks for mercy on them. Sharu Chakimaya means his Chilu Chachamim Sifraya. The Chachamim have become into Sifraya, into scribes. Malamde Tinokos, meaning the children's teachers. Shem Ketanim min HaChachamim, meaning they're one step lower than Chachamim. And then Ka'ama Diyara, the shul attendants, they've become like the Amei Ha'aretz. Again, Rashi says Ka'amei Ha'aretz. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Mem Tes Amud Beis.